Hello, my name is Chris and I make videos like this on the internet for a channel called Drive. It's very, very good fun. We wanted to make a show to preface the Monaco Grand Prix, to give some flavour of this amazing place before qualifying and the race itself. So we devised our own little pilgrimage. 3 great road cars made by 3 great Formula 1 teams, driven from factory gates to Monaco. Was it an excuse to drive fast cars across Europe? Of course it was.
And if you have a beautiful Ferrari F12 for the pilgrimage to Monaco, there really is only one place to start, and that is the home of Ferrari, Maranello. You have to admit, this is possibly the home of Formula 1 too.
That may have been true in previous years, but if you look at the grid this year, it seems Mercedes F1 has swept the first 5 races. Now, being a fair weather fan and a fan of naturally aspirated V8s, I have chosen the Mercedes SLS AMG Black Series for my drive to Monaco. And although everyone knows Mercedes is a German brand, 3/4 of the teams on the Formula 1 grid, regardless of nationality, are based here in the UK, which would explain A, why we're here at Brackley and not a Falterbach, and B, why that car is right-hand drive, which should make the next 1,400 miles pretty interesting for this guy.
And here at Woking UK at the McLaren Technology Centre, or just MTC, I'm walking into an F1 nerd's paradise. A mind-altering collection of racing legends, all lined up along what McLaren calls the Boulevard. Yes, McLaren has won a lot of races, but what I can't see is the top-secret racing lab and all the very smart people in it. If all the race cars and the futuristic architecture didn't tip you off, MTC is as much about science and math as it is about speed.
The MTC isn't just the home of a world-class Formula 1 team. It's also an R&D center working on things like building data centers and even bicycles. But all of those diverse expertise come together in its automotive group with cars like the brand new 650S.
We're set good, we're on the A1 now, heading up towards Milan. We have 405 kilometers to run. The F12 is set to a cruising speed that I don't want to publicise. The strange thing about Modena and where Ferraris are made is that the roads are not very good. You want to get away from that place. So we're heading to a really great road, the N85, the famous Route Napoleon that wobbles its way down from Grenoble down to Grasse and should provide a great place to exploit these cars, have some fun. This is Drive after all, we love driving cars, but it'll allow my American colleagues to just roll into Monaco having had a great European driving experience, hopefully with their fanny packs on the front of their shorts.
Things you see on the way to Monaco? A whole line of Lancia Stratoses? Is it Stratoses? Strati?
The Black Series may be lighter, faster, and stickier than the standard SLS, but it's also 50% stiffer, 24mm wider, and 10mm lower, meaning it's that much closer to a race car, which came into sharp focus as we loaded the Channel Tunnel train.
0659.
Oh, this is the sketchiest thing ever.
Oh, man.
Followed by an evacuation announcement. On hearing the alarm signal, you should move directly to the next carriage. This is a precautionary measure while the shuttle continues its crossing. Thank you for your attention.
I gotta say, I can't believe you made it on here with that thing.
She tried to send me to the lane where they put the buses. She was like, it's just like when I get on an airplane. She's like, oh, would you like the seatbelt extender? I know you do. You know, and you want to be like, no, I can do it. But really in your head, you're going, how can I not be ashamed by saying yes to this?
This is quite a familiar activity in an F12, filling up with fuel, but we did 280 miles on that first tank. That's actually quite good. We will soon be with my American friends. The sun's out, the sea's to my left. I mean, does it get any better than this? No. The noise from this V12. I'll never ever grow tired of it. I don't think you possibly can. Unbelievable.
So when you're just sitting in this car and looking around at all the buttons and the gauges and that stuff is all standard Merc stuff, so you don't really feel special unless you're going fast, or when you then get out of the car and look at the way over the top styling.
It's funny, the McLaren is pretty similar to that.
Except in a different way, because it's the ride quality that is Mercedes-like.
Right, like it's almost like our eyes and our bodies are opposite. Like my eyes tell me boring, but my body tells me this is a race car, whereas your eyes tell you you're in a supercar, but your body says luxury.
My American friends were having problems with the concept of a toll booth, so I went off and had a play in the F12 on those great roads. What a weapon it is!
Hey, Captain America.
Captain America.
How you doing?
Hello, love.
How are you? You well? Yeah. Okay, now look, we haven't got that much time, and it would be foolish to waste time sort of talking when we could be driving. This is the Route Napoleon, okay? So this is the so-called greatest driving road in the area, the N85, and it goes all the way up there to Grenoble for about another 100 miles. And then we can go down to the coast, and then we're going to go to Monaco, okay? We're going to go to Monaco because, having driven this exceptional road, we need to explore the amazing irony of this place, Monaco, being perceived as the greatest driving place on earth because it has this motor race. Because in my experience, Monaco is not a great place to drive. And I want to test how long you guys can handle it, because I give you 3 minutes in Monaco before you look for the nearest underground car park and say, where can we hire a moped? Gentlemen, your carriages.
I think that they have done such a good job of making this a track-focused car that they've backed it down on the GT-ness.
You do look like you've driven into a sort of
Mansouri-style modification shop and crashed into it and come out the other side with a little bit stuck to it on the road. I have to say, I like the styling, but it's full on when you're following it.
There's a 7 at the front of a 3-digit number. We're talking about horsepower on a controllable sports car. What the heck happened in the past 10 years?
The world went nicely mental, and I'm more than happy to drive these cars when the manufacturers let me drive them. Thank you very much. I'll be happy doing it for a while. I think the calibration in the F12 is really good because it's bang on the money when you're fast, but at slow speed, it doesn't give you a hard time. You just forget it's there.
I mean, the transmissions in these cars
are so far beyond where people were 5 years ago. You drive a 599 now and the thing just feels ancient. Whereas these cars, they're so good at low speed and then so sharp at high speed. Look at the view, look at the view.
All right, here we go. I like this car.
This is a weapon, this thing. 740 horsepower. Weight distribution is great. It's actually over the back wheels, so traction is superb. But if you turn the bits and bobs off, it will just lay black lines down wherever you want. The car is stunning for me, absolutely stunning.
The engine just sounds like you have summoned the 630 horsemen of the apocalypse to take your souls.
I like this car.
And the noise. The noise is something else. For me, V8 Ferraris with those valved exhausts, they can be a bit fake. They're a little bit ostentatious. You're driving around town, you hear the thing going bop, bop. It's a bit like burping. But the V12 has a majesty. It's musical, it's expensive sounding, it's gorgeous. And for me, in Ferrari terms, the front engine Berlinetta, that means the V12 cars, they're a bit more upright, you know? You sit higher, you're not so low slung. People respond to them better.
Whew. You do have to admit that as far as V8 cars go, now you've got the Ferrari 458, yes. The McLaren does sound good, but it's muffled by those turbos.
I like this car. What McLaren's done is taken the whole idea of a super sports car and just expanded it.
McLaren used its motorsports knowledge to make the 650S an absolute monster in acceleration and agile enough to cut up a B road like the Route Napoleon. But here's what's strange about the 650S. You also get a comfortable ride if you happen to be hammering out 10 hours on a boring stretch of European highway.
This has bigger cylinders, no power adders, some headers, and a titanium exhaust, and it's just, if I go, oh yes.
Right, I reckon this will trip my card because it won't.
Thank you, Chris.
I reckon it'll pay for your two and then it will shit itself for mine. Sorry, I reckon it'll pay for your two and then it won't work for mine.
All right, here we go.
Flipping a throttle requires a lack of imagination. Drive off with your door up. Approved, Spinelli.
Yeah?
Do you think you can fill quicker than you can talk?
I think I can. Here we go.
Now, Liam, did you try and tell me that it was not cool to drive off with my door up?
What does Votra mean?
Learned something about vertical doors, my
What does
friend.
fates
Driving with
mean?
the doors up.
Fates.
Oh, you need one ticket. Did you get the receipt for that?
No, you did that. Oh.
If you were to say, let's find a landmass on which we're going to have a motor race, can you think of a less suitable place than that? It looks about as unsuitable for racing as possible. So we're going to go down into that metropolis now, that little rash on the hillside that's called Monaco, in the most unsuitable cars imaginable.
I mean, I don't have to drive a UPS truck through here, so that's...
Or a race car that I'm on the wrong side of.
Anyhow, we better go because you might run out of fuel before we get down there. Let's go.
The Principality of Monaco is both a city and a sovereign country set in the hills along the French Riviera. But its narrow streets and dense population of fashionable pedestrians makes it better suited for a parade than an F1 race. So there is an argument to be made that without the spectacle and theater of the Monaco Grand Prix, Formula One would be just another race series.
Is that an aircraft carrier or a yacht?
So far, this is pretty leisurely, Chris. I don't know if I see where you're going here with this miserable Monaco talk.
I agree, at the moment this is quite open and pleasant.
But it will get less pleasant.
But is there a bad side of town? Is there some place we should avoid?
Yeah, a bit like the Bronx.
Oh yeah, this looks just like the South Bronx.
And where do you live in Monaco? The rough bit.
What was the last American V8 to run at Monaco?
The Gurney Eagles had Ford V8s. And now that I think about it, Colin Chapman's Lotuses also used Ford V8s.
So you used a DFV, which from memory was quite British.
Had a blue oval on it.
Was built in England.
So's the Sierra Cosworth.
You're claiming the Sierra Cosworth is an American car?
Says Ford on it, doesn't it?
No. No, is that Oh.
That's a line of traffic.
Now, this guy's going to literally T-bone Spinelli. Watch this. You're going to hear a squeaking New Yorker now. Hey, leave my McLaren alone.
Yo, back off! Back off! I think this town begs for something with a torque converter.
The Vector.
Yes.
I'd like a sticker on the back that says my other car's a Vector.
I think it's pretty clear who has the advantage here in Monaco. The SPF Zero sports car.
And even in Monaco, a week before the Grand Prix, people's jaws still hit the floor when they see these three together.
This is the start line, so you're coming up here now. Crazy to think they're brushing barriers and they're flat out at, well, what are they reaching up here? 150, 160 miles an hour?
I have to say, it's easy to be jaded, but this is kind of chilling to be here.
It's mega, isn't it, actually? I was being really cynical when we drove down to how all the tourists drive the lap. But look how steep this is. I had no idea how steep this is. Look at the camber. The camber's dreadful. It's all wrong.
This must be the single sketchiest place on earth to race a car.
Okay, so this is the famous casino on the right-hand side, followed by the obligatory traffic jam.
Guys, I have to stop off and buy a diamond necklace for myself. Hey Matt, this is where the Marussia dealer used to be. Oh, it's still there. So look to your right.
They make and sell cars there. Is that you trying to tell me that?
Or they make something called vaporware. I'm not sure what that is.
Would it be too absurd to drive through the tunnel with my doors up?
Yes, it would. Don't do it.
I'm doing it. Doors up.
Farah, you are a child. Fancy this at 185 now, in the dark, then popping out into the light. That is hardcore.
How much money in yachts do you think we have here? I'm gonna go with 10 billion.
I think you're low.
Are you talking about boats?
So we're here to talk about motor racing, you idiots. A rally driver called Jean Ragnotti was doing some demonstration laps for the FIA at what he thought was the end of free practice or qualifying. I think it was free practice. But Taki Inui, the famously accident-prone Japanese driver, was being towed back to the pits. And Ragnotti came through here sideways and hit the Formula One car as it was being towed back and wrote it off. But I think it was one of the few times that a Formula One car has been written off by someone doing demonstration laps.
Wow, look at the size of the curbing here. Imagine hitting this in a car with F1 suspension.
So it's quite difficult to comprehend, actually, even as a car enthusiast and someone that does a little bit of racing myself, how a modern Formula One car works around here, because it is quite bumpy, but it's so narrow and the gradients are so extreme. It must be the supreme test of driver skill, because it's all about accuracy, it's about risk and reward. In a couple of weeks' time, there will be turbocharged Formula One cars for the first time in 2 decades, more, flying through here, using their downforce to travel at speeds. What are they doing? They're probably doing 100 miles an hour through here. Would you want to hit that curb?
With that suspension at that speed, no. My spine would just shatter.
They're pretty amazing machines, and I think this year has been fascinating for people like me who follow it every year, because we have so much new technology.
And Mercedes is so good at it right out of the box. Huh?
Well, they are, but they've spent a bit of time doing it. So I suppose you're the moral victor, because you've come here representing Mercedes. Look at you. They're winning the championship.
Yeah.
You enjoyed driving the McLaren.
Yeah, I mean, despite they may be a little bit behind the 8 ball right now, but that car is fantastic.
And I came in a Ferrari, so I don't really care, because I got to pretend being Michael Schumacher and park it on the last corner.
Fun, yeah.
Which, so everyone's happy. Now let's just work out where we're staying tonight.
We're supposed to.
That was your job.
It's a Harris job.
Oh, my job.
It's a Harris job.
No, and you know, it's $4,000 a night.
Formula One touches down in Montreal, where the Maple Leaf presides, and the world's fastest men face the world's fastest lap. The Formula One Canadian Grand Prix, live Sunday, June 8th on NBC.